Knock, knock. Hi, Lauren. I was just
Hi.
working. I had a few questions. Do you have a second to chat?
Sure, come on in. I'm so glad you're here. I'm happy to help. For those folks that are watching at home and might not know who you are, can you do a quick intro?
Yes, I'm Anahit. I'm the executive assistant here at Intern Queen. I just transitioned into this position, but I also go to school full-time, and I intern, and I'm part of tons of organizations on campus, so I really like to get involved, and this is a great place to start and get some help.
And where did you start going to school and where do you go now?
Well, I went to a community college right after high school, and I was there for a few years, and then I decided I was ready to go to a private university in Burbank called Woodbury University. Great communication program, ton of other degrees, and it's very small and intimate, so I feel like I'm part of a bigger picture just under a small roof.
So yes, I see that you are prepared and have a
Yes.
list of questions for me. I like it. So yeah, tell me how I can help.
The biggest thing is kind of how to approach turning away some offers and opportunities, because I'm doing a lot aside from working and going to school. I also intern when I can, but things are always coming up, so I just was
Right.
wondering what advice you have to like maybe say no or take a step back from certain opportunities.
Right. Well, I think that's a good question because if I could go back and talk to my college self, I would probably say time is the most valuable thing that you have, so use it. And also I would have told my college self that I didn't always have to say yes to everything. I feel like in college, no wasn't an answer. I said yes to, going out all the time, hanging out with every friend, going to every club meeting, signing up for every group event. And I just feel like looking back and also knowing that, years and years later, how many of those people am I in touch with? How many
True.
of them really impacted my life? Like how many of those things really affect who I am today? And the reality is not many of them. So I think that taking a step back and just kind of looking at how you spend your time and thinking to yourself, okay, if time is the most valuable thing that I have, am I really spending it in the right way by hanging out with this person or doing this or joining this club? And again, you don't have to be a part of everything, but you do want to pick probably like 2 clubs on campus to be a part of and like give it your all, which I think you've been doing, right?
Yeah, I actually started my own club for students who can't be part of a class that contributes to the digital magazine on campus. So I kind of did like a liaison between the club and the actual paper. So I just kickstarted that this semester, so I'm getting in the hang of that, but I'm also the marketing intern for another club and just the treasurer of another club. So that's 3 under my belt.
So that's 3. So I would say like that's probably where you either want to say, okay, let me, now that you've been in these clubs on
Yeah.
campus for a little while, like which are really adding value to, you both personally and professionally. And, not everything needs to add value. Some things might just be really fun. But if there's something that you're a part of and you just feel in your gut like it's not the right fit, then you don't want to leave anybody high and dry. But at the appropriate time, which could maybe be at the end of the semester, it could be an okay time to like take a step back if needed, or, relinquish your treasurer position and just kind of be like a regular club member, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So, I think that the fact that you're asking about your time and kind of thinking that way is a really positive thing and something I would encourage like all young people to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And now I'm forgetting did I answer the original question I
Yeah,
asked?
of course.
Okay, good.
And it's actually the perfect transition to my
Okay.
next question, which is about like taking time to relax sometimes. Is like we college students in general tend to overload themselves trying to keep pushing forward. What do you think is like, aside from spring break maybe, because we actually have to take that vacation away from school, but when's
right.
a good time, maybe weekends or long weekends, to just take some time to relax? Or do you suggest we just keep pushing through until like we can just stop and enjoy?
No, I always say like if people keep getting busier and busier and busier, we're just gonna turn into like crazy email robots that just have no personality and we just live and breathe our phones. So I think disconnecting is a good thing. I feel like I heard through a birdie that you were doing a social media class.
Yes, I am. I actually kind of broke it today just because I was excited and I kind of wanted to promote our video, and this is a great collaboration and I want to get the word out. So I was like, this is a good time. And then that's what made me realize that in our culture right now, we kind of need to use those tools to our advantage,
Right.
but also take a break once in a while. It was a good week. I'll kind of still be careful with it, but
Yeah, I think that that's a great first step. And I think I would challenge anybody watching this, right, to take a step away from their social media, even if it's just for a full day, 24 hours, because we do get very caught up in posting the right picture where we look the best and we look the coolest and our stuff looks the coolest.
Exactly.
I get really mad at myself when I'm like sitting in bed at night scrolling, looking at other people.
all hours of the day.
Because like, why am I looking at other people? Like, what do I care what they're doing? I don't even know most of them,
Yeah.
right? I follow a bunch of I'm the intern queen. I follow college girls on
Yeah.
Instagram. What do I care what they're doing on a Tuesday night? Like, you know, and I get mad at myself and then I put it away. But I think like we all need to take a step back from social. And then to your question about relaxing, I would pick a chunk of time. As a college student, you have a lot going on. It's a fun time in your life. You want to be doing a lot of stuff. You want to stay active. But I would pick like a 4-hour chunk of time, you know, either a morning, an afternoon, or an evening on either Saturday and maybe Friday, because usually Friday people don't have classes or only have early classes. So either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Let's try identifying like Friday night or Saturday morning and making it your own and literally calling it like your relaxed time and looking forward to it and being loud about it. Just like you would be loud, I know you'd be loud about like Kanye, right? As excited as you'd be about going to a Kanye West concert, I challenge you to be that excited about having some alone time and shutting your phone, because like we've all said we're gonna have alone time and then we all scroll on Instagram. So literally shut your phone, chuck it, do something else. I feel like a lot of people are meditating these days. It's the cool thing. I don't do it yet, but it's something. But whether it's exercising, meditating, laying down, doing nothing, watching TV, for me, it'd be like watching an episode of The Housewives.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just like doing something that is for you and nobody else.
And then I've seen you prioritize in a time crunch. So what are some hacks or tips that you have to like get things done in shorter amounts of time?
I'm like the efficiency lady, and I am always trying to think of ways to be more efficient. Even this morning, I was talking to Marisol, who is probably standing somewhere around me right now as we film this. But, you know, I called her and she had a plan for the morning, but then a client called her. And so she had to shift priorities. And I'm sitting there getting ready for this morning, and I'm sitting there thinking like, what's the right move? Like, should she have done the client thing, or does she continue with what she's doing? And you know, with a lot of little things, there's really not a right answer. You got to get everything done. But in terms of prioritizing, I think having goals for yourself that day, that week, that month, that quarter is so important, because my daily goals are different they play into my monthly goals or my quarterly goals, but they're not the same. Okay. So I think every morning, kind of starting with the things that have to be finished that day, because you can argue that everything's a priority, but what has to be done that day? And if I use that advice and apply it to the Marisol situation from this morning, Marisol was right. We had a newsletter that's going out today. So she had to start with, I just answered my own question. She had to start with whatever the deadline for the day was. So I think when you're prioritizing, make that list of what has to be done today. For you, because I know you're like a part-time executive assistant here, for you on a Monday, it's okay, what are the things that have to be done by the time I leave today? Writing down those things, starting with those things. You're gonna get to everything else, but I think starting with those things and finishing them is gonna make you feel more accomplished, make you feel like stress-free, and it's just gonna enable you to prioritize and like maximize your time better.
And then last one, I always commend you whenever you're traveling, which you do a lot. How do you work even though you're in Vegas or Florida, or I'm sure there's a million things going on, but how do you just like avoid those distractions and put yourself in hashtag work mode?
Hashtag work mode. I like it. My brain, and I don't think I have a super type A personality to begin with. I always say I'm never the person that gets mad if the rubber band is not in the rubber band drawer. Yeah. You might be actually a little bit. You're OCD. I think you're more type A than me, which is a good thing. In some ways, I need to be more type A. But when I get dropped off at the airport, and now I'm like, I go from like dependent lady on my team at work, my husband, whoever. All of a sudden I'm like independent woman. It's like the Kelly Clarkson song plays, and I just turn my brain off. And because I know something's gonna go wrong, and if I get caught up in it, it's not gonna make it any better, right? And something always goes wrong with travel. I could talk about crazy travel stories for days. So I think one is just like, this is more of I guess it's not how I get work done, but it's more of like how I don't freak out and lose my mind. And that is that I literally turn my brain off, and I just know that I'm gonna go with the flow. If I miss a flight, I'm gonna get another one, and I'm just gonna follow the directions on my little travel itinerary and hope that I have as little bumps in the road as possible. So I think that helps me kind of keep calm. And if you're really tense, you can't get any work done anyways. The other thing is like, I know on the plane I'm going to work. So I don't bring any magazines because if I did, I would read them and I wouldn't do my work. I don't bring any books. I literally bring a second computer charger. That's also a tip. Because I know that there might not be outlets on the plane and I have to get work done. I also know that internet connection might be spotty, so I use Outlook desktop, and that way even if I'm sending emails and they won't actually send, they'll sit in my outbox and I'll send them the next time I get wireless. The other thing is that I try not to set phone calls when I'm traveling, because I used to do that and I'd get no work done because I would just be on the phone, I would lose service, I'd be driving in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. So I think no calls, and that way I can just focus on getting emails done. Or like any specific, I guess, projects. If I'm working on a book project is a great thing to get done on a plane. But I think it's kind of knowing what you can and can't do on a plane, and then also knowing your limits. And now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do my emails and one other thing, and that's it. So hopefully that's
awesome. Yeah. I honestly can't wait to watch this back and just take notes even more so. This is what I do on a daily basis, so this is really exciting and it's perfect.
Yay.
Everything I needed.
Well, I'm excited for you because I know it's not senior year yet, so you're not freaking out about the job process, but I like that you're just trying to make sure that everything you're doing is like done in the right way, or, you know, to the best of your ability. So good job. I'm excited and I'm so happy you're here and that we get to, you know, chat with you about your experiences.